Alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and today we're discussing when exactly we should expect, or maybe could expect, the Switch 2 reveal to happen in January, but also just kind of going over Nintendo's marketing, what they might announce in place of the Switch 2. Let's say, doomsday scenario, Switch 2 is not in January. What will Nintendo say this month? What games will they announce? What new trailers will they drop? That's what we're getting into today. Of course, if you enjoy Nintendo speculation, theories, discussion, I would appreciate you subscribing, but let's get into it. Alright, so for those out of the loop, we know for a fact that Nintendo will be announcing this console by March 31st, and a lot of people think, myself included, that it will be in January. I also thought it would happen in October, but that's besides the point. January is feeling pretty good right now. We have a couple of different insiders and different rumors suggesting a specifically early January reveal for this console. So the first thing I want to do here is go over these rumors, starting off with this rumor from Ninspider. This is a user over on Famiboards. I've talked about them a lot in the past. They posted over on Famiboards. This user translated it on Reddit. They said, there's also some unconfirmed information, but that time, referring to the Switch 2 reveal, may be a week after the Japanese New Year, which of course is, I believe, the Japanese New Year. They have a couple days of holiday, so I think that ends January 3rd, so basically this upcoming week that we're about to enter, but they said it's also possible that it's just new information about Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is, that's the big thing, right? People are really looking to this next upcoming week as maybe the time that we see the Switch 2, but it wasn't just this Ninspider user who does have a very reliable track record, because there was also this post from the Chinese leaker over on Weibo who had a countdown set for January 8th, but actually it was January 9th. You might see this false flare here. There's a bit of confusion here. So this person started a countdown sequence that essentially led people to believe it would end on a January 8th. The actual date would have been January 9th because of time zones and stuff, right? This person is in China, so it would have been January 9th. However, this poster actually ended up deleting their posts on Weibo and said they got all their information from Famiboards, even though that's obviously not true because they leaked the June Direct. And then they said that the countdown was for a beta test for, I believe it's Arknight's Endfield. So a lot of people were like, oh, this person's just trolling, it doesn't mean anything, but I still think it's worth looking at because they were right about the June Direct. Everything they said came true in that June Direct. They didn't get everything that was in there, right? They didn't leak Brothership, but they were talking about Mario Party, Ace Attorney Investigations, a new Zelda game, right? Prime 4 even, they were teasing would be there. So they have kind of backpedaled and said, well, actually, this little countdown I did was just for this Arknight's beta. The Arknight's beta takes place well after that countdown would end, right? It takes place from January 11th through the 20th, not January 8th or 9th. So, in my opinion, and what this Reddit user said here, it's a classic case of trying to cover up, but only making it more obvious. This is clearly a cover-up. Maybe they're just trolling, but I think this is still worth looking into. Even though everybody's kind of written this off as oh, it doesn't mean anything, this person has leaked serious Nintendo stuff in the past. They had a countdown for January 8th when the only things they had ever posted on their social media account over there was Nintendo Switch stuff. The fact that they are trying to cover it up and say it was this beta when that beta doesn't even start on that day, to me, makes it all the more conspicuous. Plus, the fact that we have Ninspider also saying something would happen this week. It's certainly a bit strange, if nothing else. There was also this post from Samus Hunter who said Nintendo may advance the next generation Switch reveal with an announcement that could possibly come before Donkey Kong, which I believe releases on January 16th. So once again, kind of just indicating this upcoming week, right? The week of January 6th through the, through the 12th or through the 13th, right? And then finally, we had the user over on Reddit, Next Handheld, who has their hands on some sort of Switch 2 prototype. They said that they were hearing of some sort of Nintendo meeting in early January. Specifically, I think they said January 10th through the 11th. So basically, the reason I'm showing all of these different insiders saying January, early January, is because it's worth taking note of. I mean, this is a lot of people saying that there will be a reveal in early January. I believe there were some other people. I think Nintendo Prime and Nintendo Talk said similar things. If you want to trust them, you can. But it really does feel like an early January reveal makes sense, not even just because of those things, right? We don't know when the Switch 2 is releasing. I think it's releasing very soon. I think it could release in March or April. A lot of people have moved on to thinking it will release in June or maybe even later than that. But if it's releasing in, let's say, April, announcing it now, you probably have to announce it as soon as possible, I would imagine, right? You want to get this thing in the marketing cycle. Specifically, you want to announce it before Nintendo's investor meeting, which is on February 4th, so they can talk about it, so they don't have investors, nagging them once more, saying, where's the Switch 2 reveal? You said that you would reveal the successor to the Switch this fiscal year. Where is it? The fiscal year is almost over, right? Announce it before that, but also announce it before the Super Bowl. Nintendo famously marketed the Switch at the Super Bowl with that great trailer with the Believer from Imagine Dragons playing. So announcing it in January, or I guess maybe early February, like very early February, does seem to make the most sense. However, I said the same thing in September and October when Nintendo had that very weird string of marketing events where there wasn't a proper direct in September. They've never done that before, or I should say they haven't really done that since like, what, 2015 or something like that. It was a long time that they had not had a proper September direct, and I thought because of that it would happen in September or October, but here we are again with January, and all things do seem to be pointing towards not just January, but specifically next week when we look at all of those different rumors. So what do I think? Well, I've been burned before again, and I guess I'm ready to be burned once more. If you missed my 10 predictions for Nintendo in a 2025 video, I said I do believe that this console will release in March. That is probably mostly copium. I am probably wrong about that. Maybe April, May, it makes a little bit more sense, but I'm all on board. All the chips are in for a March release for this console, and if that is the case, they need to start marketing it ASAP. First possible week back in office at Nintendo America at their main headquarters in Kyoto, right? So a reveal this week, if we're to believe it's releasing that soon, based on a lot of the shipment data, based on the fact that we know mass manufacturing has started from the Foxconn financials, this week makes the most sense if we're to follow that string of thought. And when we have all these rumors suggesting a reveal in this week right here, where I'm floating this little Switch 2 logo, it just feels like things are properly lining up. Now, we've been burned before, but I really do think that sometime in here could definitely happen. Now, a big question a lot of people have is, well, will they announce it beforehand, or will they just drop the trailer one day on YouTube and social media? I think there is no shot they don't announce this thing a day in advance. Like, say, hey, tomorrow we're dropping a trailer. Because I think ultimately this will be that big event that we had in January 2017. I don't think this is going to be the 3-minute Switch reveal trailer we had in 2016. I think this will probably be a Nintendo Direct, right? They're not going to do a live conference. I think, let's say, Tuesday, January 7th, they come out with a tweet saying, hey, tune in on Wednesday, January 8th, or maybe even give it 2 days, a little bit more time. Tune in Thursday, January 9th to see the future of Nintendo or something like that, and that's how they brand it. That is what I want to see. That is what I think, even regardless of if it happens next week, right? I think that is still kind of the framework they'll take. Let's say it happens down here after Donkey Kong releases towards the end of January. I still think they would announce it a day or two in advance, and it would be a direct, and that's kind of what we're looking at there. Because even if it's releasing in June, they've kind of missed the window of opportunity for there to be that 3-minute teaser trailer. And considering we already know a decent amount about it from Nintendo itself, specifically that being backwards compatible, like, I don't know if they even need to do that 3-minute teaser. Like, you can put that trailer in the Direct, don't get me wrong. That can be how the Direct opens or something, and then you have someone from Nintendo coming out and saying that what you just saw was the next Nintendo Switch console, right? I don't know if they need to do a standalone reveal for that. I guess the doomer in me could say, like, well, maybe January we do get the reveal, but then they say after the reveal, let's say this week at the third week of January, maybe after that reveal happens, they say tune in March for like the proper big blowout event. That is possible. I don't want to will that into existence, though. So for me personally, my money is on this week, but like I said, we've been burned before. We will see what happens. It just does feel like the right timing to see this console, especially because it is the week before Donkey Kong. Now, listen, I don't think they necessarily care about Donkey Kong getting stomped on by the Switch 2, but they're not going to reveal it the same week, I would imagine. Granted, back in August, they did a partner showcase the same week that Emio released. I just feel like this would be weird, right? Like this scenario right here, you have Tuesday 14th reveal for Switch 2, and then Donkey Kong 2 days later. Just feels a little odd. I guess you can make the argument, well, announcing it at all before Donkey Kong will hurt Donkey Kong, but I think you could also make the argument that announcing it like the week after Donkey Kong would also hurt Donkey Kong. So I don't think Donkey Kong's even in the equation. Let's just get Donkey Kong out of here. I'll still leave it up for demonstration purposes, but I do think this is the week. But a lot of people do think it would be in this third week. This is still before the investor meeting. This is still before Super Bowl, right? So they can still have ads ready if they wanted to. So maybe this would work. Maybe we do Tuesday or Wednesday reveal towards the end of January. And then what we have instead in early January is what Ninspider was kind of alluding to. They weren't sure if it was the Switch 2 reveal or some sort of Xenoblade Chronicles X information. Either way, I think we're getting something this week, even if it is as small, I say, as a Xenoblade X new trailer or overview trailer, that kind of thing. Either way, even if the Switch 2 doesn't happen, we will, I would say, bare minimum get this, right? I think we will get something along these lines. So they could do this, right? If the Switch 2 is towards the end of the month, January 7th or 8th, could be a new trailer for Xenoblade. Maybe somewhere in there you get a new Switch Online update. The last one, I think, was on I want to say December 11th with Tetris. So it's been quite a while since we had a Switch Online update. Maybe that same week they kind of cram those in, or maybe you move that down to the second week. And this would greatly depend on if there's a direct in February. I know Brazil was saying there would be some sort of Switch 1 focused direct in February, but maybe we see Metroid Prime 2 and 3 slotted in here if Samus Hunter is right, if these games are actually finally going to release. This could be another Twitter drop, but I feel like if there is a direct and it is a general direct, you would save this. And I guess you could maybe make the argument you would also save Xenoblade for that same time, right? So the reality is, if we're getting a Switch 1 focused direct in February, you can just move these out of the way, put these in the February time slots. This would still happen as scheduled on Twitter. And then, this could really just be the entire month. The entire month could be focused on Switch 2. I guess they could also do this. They could say, hey, here's a 3-minute trailer for Switch 2 next week, this upcoming week, and then towards the end of the month have that big direct or something if they wanted to like really hype it up, have a lot of marketing for it. It could also be announced in February, though. It could also be announced in March. So it's all just a game. It's all just a fun speculation game. I get so many comments being like, just wait. Guys, I like talking about this. I think people think I like force myself to talk about when the reveal is. I love talking about the reveal of the stupid console and when it will happen. I love talking about rumored games. I don't love talking about hardware as much, but it's fun. And we will see how this goes. The next couple of days are going to be very, very interesting. We're going to learn a lot about a lot of these leakers and rumor people if it doesn't happen in the next like 5 or 6 days, because a lot of them are saying something is happening in the first full week of January. So we will have to wait and see. I do think, let's say this thing comes out in September, then yeah, they probably wait until the last minute in March. But I just don't see a reality where this thing isn't releasing before June at this point. So we will see. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. How do you feel about a January reveal for the Switch 2? Do you think it'll happen in the coming days? It does feel unreal to say that. It does feel odd to say that we might actually be seeing the stupid console in like 5 or 6 days, but I'm feeling good. As we get closer, I think next Monday will be a very interesting day. I don't think Nintendo will say anything on Monday, but if it is happening in January, this will be the first full week back in office for a lot of game developers, but also outlets and stuff, gaming news outlets, right? So I think Monday morning we could see maybe some reports about this thing, right? Like saying like, hey, I've heard it's getting announced this day, next month after, right? So it's going to be a very interesting week next week, even if the Switch 2 reveal doesn't happen. And in that scenario, I think there's a good chance we see Xenoblade X pop up in the mix with the new trailer, which should also be very excited. I'm very excited for that remaster. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How do you feel about a January reveal, or do you think it's all bogus and this thing will be announced in February or March? February is conspicuously empty, but I think that is possibly because to play into all the rumors, if we get a Switch 1 Direct, then Metroid Prime 2 and 3 would almost certainly be released in February, either Shadow Drop, maybe announced this month, released next month. But February is pretty empty right now, but I think that might just be because there's still an unannounced game, which could be announced in early January. But as always, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch speculation, theories, discussion. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames, and check out my Nintendo collecting channel at It's Amiibo. Until next time, folks, peace.